Okay, you wanted to work out the problems from the test. I'm not going to work them all out. I'm going to work out the first I'm going to work out the first 6 on practice problem 3-factor problems. And then I'm going to work out the first 6 on practice problem comprehension problems. Now, what I want you to do is then I want you to go back through the problems on your test, and I want you to give me specific examples of things that you need me to work through that you don't understand, okay? I think that will help me and you both. So take the rest of that time, and I want you, the rest of your day, go back through the test. I'm going to post the questions on with this video today, and you can go back and try to work through them again, and work through them. And I will talk to your teacher about giving you partial credit for the reworked problems. Ones you don't understand, please let you correct those. Ones you don't understand, please let me know what you're not understanding as you work through them. Like, I don't understand how to do milligrams per kilogram per hour. I don't understand how to do milliliters per hour or milligrams per kilogram per dose. Be kind of specific so I can work specific things on that. But let's do the first 6 on each one. And then I'm going to post the problems again on the website. I want you to try to work through them on paper and see what you get. What I will do tomorrow is I will work a few more for the first part of class, and then you have a reading assignment for the second part. But right now, let's work through these and then let you rework through some problems and see where we are, okay? All right, so the problem number 1 says, order Tagamet 40 milligrams per kilogram per day, PO in 4 divided doses for treatment for an active ulcer. The child weighs 60 kilograms. Okay, so how many milligrams per kilogram per day how many milliliters per day will we give? Okay, the first thing we have to do is figure out what our milligrams per kilogram per day are. So the patient's weight is already converted, so we have 40 milligrams per kilogram per day. Okay, 40 milligrams per kilogram per day. And we know that there are that this patient weighs we know that this patient weighs 60 kilograms. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply across the top. 60 times 40 equals 2,400. Sorry. So the patient's going to get 2,400 milligrams per kilogram per day. Now we have to figure out how many milliliters per day. So we have 240 milligrams per kilogram per day. And what we have on hand is 5 milliliters equals 300 milligrams. We got rid of our milligrams. So now we have, that's how many milligrams per day. So now we have milligrams over 1 day. Okay, so if we multiply that out, we get 240 times 5, which is 1,200. Divided by 300. Sorry, it should be 12,000. Miss Cruz didn't put enough zeros. 12,000 divided by 300 equals 40 milliliters per day. So that's how many milliliters per day. And now we're going to figure out how many milliliters per dose. So that's the first section. Now the second section wants to know how many milliliters per dose. Well, if we know we're going to give 40 milliliters per day, and we know that the patient is going to get, because it's in 4 divided doses, we're going to give in one day, we're going to give 4 doses. So we get rid of our days, so 40, so we get 40 divided by 4, which equals 10 milliliters per dose. So that would be the second part. So we're going to give 40 milliliters per day and 10 milliliters per dose. That would be the second part of number 1. Okay. Now, let's do number 2. Number 2 says, order is for furosemide 4 milligrams per kilogram per day for management of hypercalcemia of malignancy. The child weighs 60 pounds. Okay, now we have to convert milligrams to kilograms, or we have to change pounds to kilograms. So let's do that first. Let's do this part first. So that we're going to order 4 milligrams per kilogram per day. That's our order. And we know that our patient weighs 60 pounds over one patient, and we know that 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. So that's 60 divided by 2.2. That equals 27.27. Okay? And now we need to multiply that by the 4 milligrams to figure out how many milligrams per day. So we're going to give 109.1 milligrams per 1 day, right? And it wants us to figure out how many milligrams per dose. Or how many milliliters will we give in a day. Okay, so we have 109 milligrams. And what we have on hand here is we have 1 milliliter equals 10 milligrams. So we get rid of our milligrams, and what we have is 109.1 over divided by 10. Will equal 10.9 milliliters per day, or 11 milliliters per day. So now we figured out that part. Okay, so that is number 2. Now let's figure out number 3. Let's work through number 3. The order is for Cleocin 30 milligrams per kilogram per day IV in divided doses every 8 hours for infection. The child weighs 50 kilograms. How many milliliters per day will you give? Okay, so we already have the kilograms figured for, so we're going to give 30 milligrams times 50 kilograms. So that equals 1,500 milligrams per day, right? We're going to give 1,500 milligrams per day. So it wants to know how many milliliters we'll give. Okay, so let's do that first part. 1,500 for 1 day. And what we have on hand is 300 milligrams. 2 milliliters equals 300 milligrams. 2 milliliter vial has 300 milligrams. So we got rid of our milligrams. That equals 3,000 divided by 300, which equals 10. Milliliters per day. So we're going to give them 10 milliliters per day. Now the next question says how many milliliters per dose. So if we have 10 milliliters in one day, and we're going to give 3 doses in one day, we're going to give 3 doses, because 8 times 3 is 24, right? So we have 10 divided by 3, which equals 3.33 or 3.3 milliliters per dose. So that would be the first and the second part. This would be the first part, and this would be your second part. Okay? Let me see if I have a dry erase marker with a better tip on it. I think someone has been shoving that on the board. This green might be a little bit better. Let's see if the green works a little better. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, information obtained by a nurse. A child is receiving 0.575 milliliters per dose of gentamicin every 8 hours from a supply of gentamicin 40 milligrams per milliliter. The child weighs 45 pounds. How many milligrams per kilogram per day is the patient receiving? So the order is for 0.575 milliliters. Let me not put milligrams, it's milliliters per one dose. And what we have on hand is 40 milligrams over 1 milliliter. And we know that our patient number 4. We know our patient weighs 45 pounds, so one patient equals 45 pounds. We know that 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram. Now we have milligrams per kilogram, and that's what it's asking, per. And then we know that we're going to give how many doses? 8, so we're going to give 3 doses. So there's going to be 3 doses in one day. So we got our doses going. Now we have milligrams per kilogram per day. So when we multiply that all the way across, we have 0.575 times 40 times 1 times 2.2 times 3 equals 151.8 divided by 1 times 1 times 45 times 1 times 1 equals 45. So we're going to divide it by 45. Gives us 3.37 milligrams per kilogram per day. Or 3.4 if you want to round up milligrams per kilogram per day. Okay? All right. I'm hoping you guys can see that. If you can't see it, please let me know and I'll try to do something a little bit different. This is the only way I know to work it out is on a whiteboard like this. If I work it out on the board up there, you're not going to be able to see it as well as this. Okay, so number 5, we're going to mark 5 and 6, and then we're going to move over to let's see, what would be on page 197 at the top right-hand corner, and we're going to do the practice problems, comprehensive practice problems. Okay, so let's do number 5. Number 5 says, information obtained by the nurse. Patient is receiving 125 milliliters per dose of diphenhydramine IV every 8 hours for a supply of 50 milligrams per milliliter. The child weighs 20 pounds. How many milligrams per kilogram per day are we going to give? All right, so first off, we know that we are giving 0.125 milliliters per dose, right? And we know that we have 50 milligrams in 1 milliliter on hand. We also know that we have one 20-pound, we have one 20-pound patient, and we know that 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram. And that we know, so we've got rid of our milliliters, we got rid of our pounds, we've got to get rid of our doses, and we're going to give 3 doses in 1 day. So we got rid of our doses. So what we have left is milligrams per kilogram per day. That's what we want to know. So when we multiply that all the way across, we get 0.125 times 50 times 1 times 2.2 times 3 equals 41.25 divided by 1 times 1 times 20 times 1 times 1 is 20. .06 milligrams per kilogram per day, or 2.1, because you can round the 6 up, it's more than 5, 2.1 milligrams per kilogram per day. Either answer would be correct. All right, that's number 5. Now we're going to work through number 6, and then we'll work the next 6 on the other side. All right. So our next order says dopamine 5 micrograms per kilogram per minute for decreased cardiac output supply. Our supply is a 400 milligram dopamine vial. Nursing drug reference, dilute each 400 milligram vial in 250 milligrams of normal saline. Our patient weighs 110 pounds. Okay, so for how many milliliters, let me put this up here. So for how many milliliters, zoom that in so you can see it a little better maybe. So this is the problem. And if you look right here, it tells you that there's 40 milligrams per milliliter. But if we look on the bottom, we also know that this is a 10 milliliter vial. So there's 400 milligrams in 10 milliliters, so we're going to draw 10 milliliters out, and we're going to add that to that 250 milligrams of normal saline here in a minute. So that first answer would be 10. And how you figure that out is there's 400 milligrams, it's what it says to reconstitute, or to add to the vial. And what we have on hand is a 10 milliliter vial that has 400 milligrams. So we can mark those out, and it equals 10 milliliters. Okay, that's that first part. Now, I'm going to zoom back out so you can see the whole board as we work. So that's the first part. Okay, now the next part is they want to know how many milliliters per hour are we going to set the pump at. Okay, so what we have is 5 micrograms per kilogram per minute. And what we have on hand, now we added that 10 milliliters to that 250 milliliters of normal saline, so now we have 260 milliliters that has 400 milligrams in it. It has 400 milligrams of dopamine. We know that's micrograms, so we got to change micrograms to milligrams. So we know 1 milligram equals 1,000 micrograms. So we're going to get rid of our micrograms. We're going to get rid of our milligrams. Now we have to figure out, we know we have, we also know that we have to get rid of our kilogram over here. 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. And we know that our 110 pound over 1 patient. So we got rid of our pounds. We got rid of our kilograms. And we have to get rid of our minutes because we want to know milliliters per hour, right? So we've got our milliliters still left. Now we got to get rid of our minutes. So we know that 60 minutes equals 1 hour. So we got rid of our minutes. Now let's multiply all the way across the top. So we have 5 times 260 times 1 times 1 times 110 times 60 equals, I don't think that's right. Let me do it again. 5 times 260 times 1 times 1 times 110 times 60, which would be 8,580,000 divided by, we multiply our bottom, it's 400 times 1,000 times 2.2 times 1 is 880,000. Now when we divide that out, it gives us 9.75 milliliters per hour, or 9.8. 9.8. Well, I can't seem to erase very good. Or 9.8 milliliters per hour. Okay, so that's the first 6 on that page. Now, we're gonna flip over. That was pages 191 of what I gave you to 193 through problem 6. Now we're gonna turn over to page 197 where it says practice problems, comprehensive practice problems. Okay, we're gonna work through those now. Those first 6. All right, so the first one says, order digoxin, 0.125 milligrams PO daily for congestive heart failure. So that's our order, 0.125 milligrams. And what we have on hand is 1 tablet equals 0.25 milligrams. So we're going to get rid of our milligrams, and they want to know how many tablets we're going to give. So when we multiply that, or multiply top and bottom, we get 0.125 divided by 0.25. Which is going to give us 0.5 tabs. We're going to give them a half a tab. We're going to do the first 3. I'm trying to find some harder ones as we go back. They shouldn't get any harder than those last ones that we did. But we're probably going to do number 25 also, because 25 looks a little tough. So we're going to do 1 through 6 and 25 on this one. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, order ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, 0.5 grams over 1 dose. And what we have on hand is 1 tablet that equals 500 milligrams. This is another way you can do this. Now, we have grams and milligrams, so we've got to put a conversion in there. So we know that 1,000 milligrams equals 1 gram. So we got rid of our milligrams, we got rid of our grams. When we multiply that out, 0.5 times 1,000 is 500. try to get this where you can actually see it all. Sorry, you may not have seen all that one. That was 500 divided by 500, which would give us 1 tab, right? So we're going to give 1 tab. 500 divided by 500 would give us 1 tab. Okay, so that's the first two. Let's do number 3 real quick. 3 through 6. Number 3, we have atropine grain 1/500. So when you have a fraction, make it a decimal. Always make it a decimal. So 1 divided by 150. And a fraction is 0.007. So it's 0.007. It's, grains is what is ordered. And what we have on hand is 1 milliliter equals 0.4 milligrams. Okay, so we know that we also had to put in our conversion because we have grains and milligrams. We know that 60 milligrams equals 1 grain. So we got rid of our grains, we got rid of our milligrams, and now all we have is a milliliter. So let's multiply it across. 0.007 times 1 times 60 equals 0.42 divided by 0.4 equals 1.05. So we can't give 0.05 of a milliliter. So what we're going to give is 1 milliliter. That's what we're going to give. All right, so that's number 3. Let's move on over to number 4, which is on the flip over page 198. Okay. So order number 4 is mycostatin oral solution, 500,000 units, swish and swallow for oral thrush. What we have on hand is, okay, so our order, so let's write our order down, 500 units. And what we have on hand is 1 milliliter that equals 100,000 units. And they want to know how many teaspoons. So we know that 1 teaspoon equals 5 milliliters for conversion. Okay? So we have 500,000 over 100,000 times 5. It should be 500,000. Which would equal 1 teaspoon. Means we would get 1 teaspoon. Okay, that would be number 4. Number 5, our order is for Demerol, 50 milligrams IV. Every 4 hours for pain. And what we have on hand is 1 milliliter equals 100 milligrams. And it wants to know how many milliliters we're going to give. Okay, so we got rid of our milligrams. So we have 50 divided by 100, which equals 0.5 milliliters. So we would give 0.5 milliliters on that. Okay, number 6. Number 6 says we have vancomycin, 2 milligrams per kilogram IV every 12 hours for infection. What we have on hand is 500 milligrams per 10 milliliters. Our patient weighs 75 kilograms. So we have 2 milligrams per kilogram. And what we have on hand is 5 milliliters equals 500 milligrams. And we have a 75 kilogram over 1 patient. So we got rid of our kilograms. We got rid of our milligrams. And they want to know how many milliliters we're going to give. So we multiply that out. 2 times 5 times 75 is 750 divided by 500 equals 1.5 milliliters. Okay, we're going to give that patient 1.5 milliliters of Demerol. Sorry, make a mind. Oops. I put the wrong dose there. I put the wrong milliliters there. Sorry, guys. This should be 10. So we got to fix this. I got to fix this because that should be 10 milliliters, not 5. I was looking at the problem below it. I was looking at number 7. So 10 milliliters equals, okay, so let me do that again. 2 times 10 times 75 equals 1,500 divided by 500. That gives us 3 milliliters. Okay, it's 3 milliliters, not 1.5. I'm sorry I had the wrong milliliter dose out of the problem, or the milliliter vial out of the problem, from the problem. Okay, so that's number 6. Now let's work problem number 25, because it looked kind of tough. Okay, order is for amoxicillin, 45 milligrams per kilogram per day in 2 divided doses for severe ear infection. The supply is amoxicillin, 400 milligrams per 5 milliliters, and the child weighs 35 kilograms. How many milligrams per day is the child receiving? Okay, so we're going to do that first part. We don't have to convert pounds to kilograms, so we have 45 milligrams per kilogram per day. And we have our patient is 35 kilograms. Sorry, I can't even write today. Sorry. 35 kilograms equals 1 patient. So we need milligrams per day, right? So 45 times 35 equals 1,575. So we're going to give 1,575 milligrams per day. And then it says how many will they receive per dose. Okay, so now we have 1,575 over 1 day. And we know that the patient is getting it into 1 day. They're getting 2 doses, right? So get rid of our day. 1,575 divided by 2, which equals 787.5 milligrams per dose. We got 785 milligrams per dose. Now it wants to know how many milliliters per dose you'll give. So we're going to give 787.5 milligrams per dose. And what we have on hand is 5 milliliters equals 400 milligrams. So 787.5 times 5 is 3937.5 over, divided by 400, equals 9.8 milliliters per dose. We're going to give 9.8 milliliters per dose. Okay, so that's number 25. All right. So we have worked the first 6 on each page and number 25. Now, I'm going to upload this, and I want you to read through and try to work through the rest of these problems, okay? When you get to one, say you get to number 7 and you don't understand how to work, because that one's just going to do milliliters per hour. But you're still going to have to do the same thing we did almost from the one above. So be sure that you are reading what it's wanting. And then tell me which ones that you just really don't understand, and we will go back and work those, okay? All right. I hope you're having a great day. Work through them. Let me know what you're having problems with, and then I will talk to Heather about adding points to your test grade for you reworking these problems, okay? All right, have a great day, and work through the rest of them, okay? Again, thank you. And once again, be sure you ask specific questions, okay? All right, have a great day.